of the day, top of the day. I'm on several different platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram Live at the moment. And there's some platforms that I'm able to share my screen. So if you're not able to see the screen or whatnot, I'm sharing some information. Sorry about that. In the meantime, for those that can see my screen as I share it, just bear with me. I'm trying something different. Just thank you for bearing with me. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And things may happen, even in the course of, what I'm doing with you all at any moment. And you just got to deal with it, go with the punches, roll with the punches, and get better with that, with that being said. So my name is Donovan Hilton. I'm your brand strategist and leadership coach. And I help businesses, brands, and people position themselves as an authority and build lasting influence. So I help position you to be seen as an authority and to help you build lasting influence. Why? Because it gives you a better opportunity to increase your customer base. It gives you a better opportunity to increase your community presence or buy-in in what you're doing. And that could be based on economics or commerce. That could be based on community engagement, government relations, and that could be personal, whatever personally is going on in your life. So hopefully today's conversation of what are we talking about today? Today's conversation of how to speak with confidence and command, how to speak with confidence and command any room. How to speak with confidence and command any room. How to speak with confidence and command any room. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can share my screen on Facebook. Y'all just got to see my business. It is what it is. Let's see if I can do it. Bada boom boom. Maybe not. For those that are more savvy than I am when it comes to at least Facebook. Hey, look at my numbers. It's horrible. All right, here we go. Let's see. Dang, I'm not able to share my screen, I don't think, for Facebook. Well, I don't want to take too much time, so we're just going to move on. Maybe I am. I just don't know what I'm doing. It's all good. I'll just press this button, see what happens. Okay. That's horrible. I sure would have loved to share my screen. I'm not able to. All right, so sorry for the delay, y'all. I just wanted to see if I can share my screen real quick on Facebook. It does not look like it. Thank you for those on Instagram for your patience. We'll just move on. So today's conversation, how to speak with confidence and command any room. How to speak with confidence and command any room. So I'm just going to leave my thoughts. That's all I can do. It may be all over the place because I want to be transparent and authentic in what I'm talking about. So there is no, we're not doing that. We're just going to keep it straight, with it informal, and let it flow. So in this conversation, when it comes to how to speak with confidence and command any room, if you're expecting me to give you like technical skills to do that, I'm not going to do that, because I want you to empower yourself to where when you are speaking with confidence, it's authentic. When you are commanding a room, it's authentic. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, I'm not going to give you, okay, shoulders back, head tilted to the left, 32-degree angle. We're not doing all that. No, what we're focusing on is So bad choice of words. We're talking about soul searching here. We're going to jump into the mental and the spiritual side of this physical conversation. We're going to focus on the mental and the spiritual side of this physical conversation. And so we're going to start off with, when we're in all this conversation, you're going to have to, when it comes to truly authentically speaking with confidence, and this could be for business, personal, you may want to get with the partner of your dreams, and you can't speak, especially a male, you can't speak with confidence. You can't command a room. Do you really expect, respectfully, that that individual may be attracted to you? They probably are attracted and interested. But a lot of times, especially for women, they're looking at, yes, the short term, but they're also looking at the long term and looking to find a balance in that. And long term, they're looking for someone that can lead, not necessarily boss and dictate, but a partner that they can work with and walk side by side, but ultimately a leader to help take away a lot of those decisions and challenges. And I'll put some references out there, but a lot of times, just your partner, if you're a female, the female just wants to, go with the flow, look good, be there to support and enjoy the day. Be there to support however need be. You are all on the same page when it comes to the expectations and all that, but ultimately sit back and relax. And when they need to step in, and like a wife or something, when they need to step in and do that, they will. And a lot of times, good husbands or men, when the woman is stepping in, they step into the side simply because when the woman makes moves, it's for a reason. Usually, it's good, logical, and it's a good opportunity for support for you as a man and as a husband or whatever have you. So you have to be sure of yourself in this conversation. This is the spiritual and the mental part. You have to be sure of yourself. You also have to, in other words, you have to believe in yourself. Because here's the reality, and respectfully, 9 times out of 10, no one's going to believe in you. Or no, I'll take that back. No one has to believe in you like that. If they believe in you, it's because they choose to. And a lot of times people choose to because they're your family or really close friends, but ultimately, people don't have to, because they have to believe in themselves. They have to do what they have to do at the minimum. We're talking about the minimum. So if you have the expectations of you having to believe in yourself first and really only, and when we say believe in yourself, that's with you and your faith. If you go there, if you want to go there, it's you and your faith. And we hope the faith is integral and you're walking side by side, being an example of perseverance and success, which is the definition of success, according to my eldest son, is going after the visions and goals that you have set for yourself. You may not reach them. I was looking at some stuff on Instagram earlier today where all these great individuals went through a lot of setbacks and failures. For example, like Steven Spielberg was denied in the film school 3 times. And he's like one of the greatest producers or film directors of all times. I think it was like the dude from KFC got like over 1,000 denials or failures to get KFC where it's at now. There's a whole bunch of examples of the challenges and the setbacks, but people still going through it and still getting it done. So believing in yourself. And I am a fun fact for those that may not know, I'm a behavior therapist and I work with kiddos, usually around 4 to 10 years old. I can work with kiddos to ultimately help them control their thoughts, help them control their behavior, and also help them acquire the social skills necessary to live a sustainable life. And for example, what I mean by that is if someone says, especially a teacher or supervisor may say, hey, no, or not yet, we cannot have a tantrum and use inappropriate words and hit and scream and flail our arms and biting, so we're working on those things. That requires me modeling what a sustainable behavior and thought process looks like so they can work, so they can see it. And not saying they're not, but that's my part of my job, to come in and do that. And ultimately, for that kiddo to believe in themselves. The older kiddos may use, negative words or negative thoughts toward themselves or situations. And we're working on changing those things. So believe in yourself. When I think of that, it makes me think of, I'm bringing it up, it makes me think of a little spot of confidence. And I pray I can leave that link to the video, to the song, and the audiobook. It's what I play with my kiddos, a little spot of confidence. And I've learned a lot from this. And I believe confidence is believing in yourself. So I'll put that link in there so that we could all have a little spot of confidence as we're talking about how to speak with confidence and command any room. So before I go on, let's just first look at, because we're going to start cooking in a minute. Let's just first look at the definition of confidence. There's no right or wrong definition. As long as it's integral or sourceful, we can run with it. And so I'm just typed in Google, and according to Google's definition from Oxford Languages, confidence is based upon a noun, the feeling or belief. Now, when we say feeling, a lot of times that's dealing with emotions. So what we're having a conversation about when we're talking about confidence and commanding a room, we're also now jumping into emotional intelligence, because the more intelligence, the more information, the more data you're able to obtain and process, the more sustainable the output or the results will be. So we definitely want to start opening our minds when we're talking about confidence and commanding rooms to look into emotional intelligence. This is all personal growth stuff we're talking about in order for you to maximize your professional and your personal relationships. I want to shout out my friend Joe T. Baker III, jbt3.org. As he would say, commercial break me, please. I'm going to take a sip of this liquid here. My friend Joe T. Baker has an amazing story, respectfully to him, and I put his business out there, but it is public. He served 10 years in a correctional institution, state facility, and affiliated, basically went to that experience, took a step back and went a different direction, and is sharing his story and using the message of Christ to help tie it all together. And it's a beautiful thing. And I just want to shout him out. Check him out on his YouTube, Joe T. Baker, T as in Tom, Joe T. Baker III, or you can go to J as in jump, J as in Joe, T as in, I don't know his middle name, but T as in Tom, B as in Baker, and the number 3.org. And you can check out some of his work, purchase his books. He has a great new series on Tubi. I want to shout you out, Joe T. Tubi. I think I saw you too. You were connecting with Snoop or somebody of that nature. They gave you a shout out on the show and everything. It was but just, hey, our work is reaching out, and shout out to you, Joe T. I want to shout out my man, Jarvis Turnley, for introducing me to Joe T. Jarvis Turnley is a huge mover and shaker, and he has my highest respect, and I wish him nothing but continued success for him and his family. So with that being said, confidence is emotions. So the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. Confidence. The feeling or belief that one can rely on something on someone or something. A firm trust. And this is why in faith, when they're respectfully talking about the faith, that in that faith who you can rely on. That's what respectfully. There's a firm trust in that. And so what I'm saying is faith without works supposedly is dead. And so what I mean by that is you're going to have that something you can rely on. But that something that you can rely on is also empowering you to rely within yourself, because that what you're relying on is within you, if that makes sense, is you, if that makes sense. It's a spiritual mental conversation. So therefore, you can do all things through that source that strengthens you. Does that make sense? There's a firm trust in that. So if you can't trust in yourself enough, trust in that source enough in your faith to just move. Does that make sense? And when you move, like I just said earlier, guess what? When you move, it's going to be a lot of banging and bonking and going in the wrong directions, a lot of challenges. That's what happens with movement. There's a lot of great things, but there's a lot of challenges too. So if you're not aware of the challenges, or if you're not firm enough to stand bold in those challenges, that's why I shouted out Joe T. Baker III and his story. That's why I want you to check it out. If you're not strong enough to stand in those challenges and make the choice, then ultimately you're limiting yourself, and you cannot blame that trusted source of faith that has given you every opportunity, given me every opportunity to do what needs to be done. Does that make sense? So ultimately, when we're talking about how to speak with confidence, we're talking about how to speak with belief, how to speak with the emotion of knowing, of trust, if that makes sense. We're going to jump into that a little more. And so when we're talking about confidence, there's layers to it. There could be a spiritual source that is working into your mental that will direct your physical. So that's why I said that's why I'm saying, I don't want to take too long, but that's why I'm saying I want you to be authentic in how to speak with confidence and how to command a room, because it's going to come from and flow through a source where you can really have an abundance. It's not technical. You don't have to think. You want this to be a lifestyle. Does that make sense? That's how you command a room. It's a lifestyle. That's how you speak with confidence. It's a lifestyle. And that lifestyle is only manifested by you going and acting and pursuing and going through those motions in life. And you're going to get banged up and bumped and bruised and everything else in between. But guess what? It makes you stronger. It makes you persevere. It makes you become eventually a teacher and a guide for others. Because that's ultimately what we're going to end up being. If you want to really expand on what you do, knock it out and reach all those heights. But as you continue to mature, the game's changing. You may not necessarily be needed in that regard. And that's why I had to start an advisory service. I do provide still consulting and outsourcing. But as I'm changing and life is going, guess what? I'm not necessarily needed in certain areas, or I can now direct situations to make things happen. So, I started an advisory firm, so now I'm consulting, but then I'm also just talking, directing, helping, so it's just emotion that not emotion, but a motion that I really want you to really embrace. So we know what confidence looks like. I'm sure this will be coming back up in our conversations. And we're talking about how to speak with confidence and command any room. Let's look at the definition of command. From a verb perspective, this is from Oxford Languages. Definition number 1 is give an authoritative order. Give an authoritative order. And when I look at the word authoritative, it should be on my website, but if not, send me a direct. This is hopefully by the time you watch this video, it's up. But if not, send me a message. But I have a 1-hour webinar on discovering your leadership DNA, also known as discovering your leadership style. And there's so many styles, and there's so many different definitions and words for them. But there's one particular style of leadership that's authoritative, and I jump into that in my webinar. Really what that looks like and what that word means, because not only do you have to know your leadership style, but you need to know all the leadership styles so that you know how to adapt as a leader yourself, and also recognize the leadership style of your team so you know how to adapt accordingly as well. And that's why the authoritative there that's underlined jumped out to me. So if you want a link, if you're not on my website, if you want a link to my webinar, a 60-minute webinar on discovering your leadership style so they can help you as a leader, as well as help you identify other people's leadership styles and help others adapt in their style to adjust to others, so you can have a strong team dynamic. A strong team dynamic, which is when people work together cohesively, you're able to get a lot of things done and production increases. But I want to look up the word order. I want to look up this word order. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what this means. I'm not going to. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see what this. Okay, here we go. Order, the arrangement or disposition of people or things in relation to each other according to a particular sequence. pattern, or method. That's the noun. So the arrangement of people or things in relation to in relation to each other according to a particular sequence, pattern, or method. So when I think of that, the arrangement of people, first of all, people usually won't do anything or listen to what you're saying unless you have some influence, either because you're the supervisor or boss and they got to collect a paycheck, or they are invested in this activity or group and then they respect. The point of what I'm saying is your authority. People are not, so think about a supervisor or boss. You're respecting them 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10 because they're the one that's going to clear the account to get your paycheck. They're going to clear your timesheet or whatever, so it's the same thing. If people don't have value to you in that regard, you're not going to arrange anything for them. You're not going to give them a time of day. So what I'm bringing it back to is when it comes to command, you have to be able to get people to do things in a way that is systematic or through a method. And that command could be verbal or nonverbal. The most authoritative ones are, and authority doesn't have to be something negative. Authoritative does not have to be negative. We're going to talk again, that's in my leadership webinar. Send me a link if you want me to send that over to you. There is a fee. I'll send you the fee when you send me the link that you're interested. That's not a lot of money, but I don't want to say a price because that may change over time. You see the video and whatever have you. So, yeah. So I'll say this, bad choice of words. But I'm gonna say it like this: it's kind of like a sheep dog. I don't know if they call them, but like a sheepdog, and their role, respectfully, is to make sure the sheep are going in a particular direction or doing different things. If the sheep didn't see that dog as having authority, they would not get an order, if that makes sense. And that dog is walking with and prancing with the emotion that they are relying on themselves or their faith to say, hey, I'm telling you, sheep, respectfully, we need to do this. You know what I mean? And sometimes the authority has to, get a little rough, if that makes sense. And that's the as far as the dog snapping at the leg or whatever. But anyway, let's move on. So now we have an idea of what confidence is and what command is. We have a better idea. So let's jump in. I have 10 minutes or less. We'll see. But ultimately, I don't know if you see my notes here. I want to shout out Express Employment Professionals, the national chain, but specifically the Nashville North and downtown office, Nashville, Tennessee. One of my greatest supporters and clients. And if you happen to be in that greater North Davidson County area, you're looking for sustainable employment, especially in the industrial trade side. There's a touch of information technology and healthcare and administrative opportunities. But what they do and what makes them unique is they don't really do entry-level positions. You have to be at, you have to have a few years experience. And the reason why is because the employers that will hire you are looking for someone that has experience and skills, and they don't have to train you too much. That's why you're getting paid a higher hourly wage, if that makes sense. So that's their uniqueness. So you definitely want to get your skills up. If you don't have skills up, connect with other employers at the entry level, get the skills up, connect with Express, and they'll connect you with the over 100 or 200 employers they have access to in their immediate zip codes, and you can get to work. Take that earned income, turn it into passive income. That's another conversation we'll talk to. And I do want to shout out Jason and Christy Patrick, owners of the Express Nashville North and downtown office. And so this is where I'm taking my notes from. And so going back into this mental and spiritual conversation, when it comes, okay, let's jump into it. How to speak with confidence, how to command any room. There's a few options. One, you just have a natural gift of doing it. You don't know how to do it, but you just know you have a natural gift. Another option is you may have grew up and seen someone do it all your life, speaking with confidence and commanding a room. So you learn eventually to do it yourself. And a third option, it may not be the only option, is you have to practice. You have to practice. Start with, and we're starting with knowing yourself. And what do you mean by that? We just went through about 20 minutes of conversation, 25 minutes of conversation, and it was all basically spiritual and mental based so far. We haven't even gotten to the physical parts yet. So you have to start with knowing yourself. And everything that I do, it starts with yourself, unless you have the working capital, which is also known as money, to pay skilled people to do these things. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Get your earned income, get your working capital together for your ventures and your business, and pay people. But if you want to do it yourself, or if you are in a position where you're in this position, you want to get better, we have to start with knowing yourself. You have to empower yourself. My website here is going to change shortly, is empowering urban communities one connection at a time. That content will be changing, but you still have to empower yourself. And we're talking about knowing yourself. And so one of the first questions you want to ask yourself is, what makes me actually lack confidence and lack the idea of commanding a room? I'll say that again. One of the first things you got to ask yourself, this is what I asked myself, directly or indirectly at one point, is what makes me lack confidence and makes me lack commanding a room? And when you jump into that and you start writing things down and doing research, you will start to peel things back that will allow you to, if nothing else, to heal, that will allow you to heal. But more importantly, or another choice of words, create a foundation that allows you to be grounded and then grow. We're peeling things back so we can be grounded, worst case through healing, and then growing. We can't grow without groundation or without healing. And again, that's a spiritual, mental conversation going to a physical conversation, if you will. So I can't give you the answers as to why, you feel like you lack confidence and you feel like you cannot command a room. Write those things down and start chipping away at that information. And you'll start to see, as you even do that, you'll start to empower yourself. You're going to know more. Again, it's about knowing and building trust, a firm trust. In the video I did in the past, especially when it comes to lead generation and building relationships, you have to know, like, and then trust something. Trust is usually the final stage and is usually the component that sustains a long-term relationship or a long-term experience, So that trust is so important. So you got to start chipping away at things, to start digging through, to start building opportunities for you to trust yourself and to trust others. This means that you have to invest in yourself more. Again, you got to take time and start chipping away. So for example, what do I mean by that? See if I remember this correctly. I think it was just this morning. I was doing a video or doing research or watching videos on resentment. And resentment basically jumped into anger. And anger, even as a behavior therapist, I'm saying, okay, we really don't want to be angry, but you got to look at the purpose of anger. And anger is beneficial in a lot of ways. Anger does drive action to some degree, And so when you become angry from resentment and you properly don't know how to store it, you probably don't know how to release it, that anger through resentment can turn into physical illnesses, according to the research that I'm doing. And so I don't want that to happen. And in that, a good way to release anger or release that resentment is to, one, they say, is to forgive and to not demean. Do not allow who or what you're resenting, because of the feeling and anger that you're getting from it. You may be feeling like you have been demeaned. Demeaned, that's the word. I had to look that word up, make sure I knew it right. Demeaned. And demeaned is basically where you view yourself as less valuable or important or lower based on the experiences you had with the group or the person that you know have resentment and anger with. And so my resentment is based on my own idea of my value being dropped because this person or group is not doing the things in the way that I want them, or it's not going. And that ends up hurting me and creating various diseases, to include ulcers, in your body, and a lot of times when you go through challenges, or you go through those pains, or you go through those bumps again through life, you're going to want to empower yourself to figure it out, to dig through, because it's your faith and it's you. And really no one other than those two things are going that really need to help you. It's no one's challenge, if you will. It'd be nice to, and more likely they will, but it's not required. We have to figure this out with our faith and any support that comes to us that's integral over time. But we have to first do our own research. And so when I'm saying start with knowing self, that includes me. So that's a whole other conversation. But all that goes into behavior and relationships. So you have to continue to peel and chip away. And so what I'm doing now is recognizing I'm not going to demean or feel demeaned by the perception of me losing value or me dropping in my perception of the other individual or groups based on what I'm not getting. That is could be seen as a victim mentality. I don't know. You let me know. But in my mind, I'm always looking at, okay, this is a challenge and I don't like it. I need to figure out and start thinking of how to change it and show myself and others we don't do this. No. And that's just always been my personal mentality toward myself. And I want that for you. I don't want to ramble too much. I hope all this makes sense. But again, the more you invest in yourself, the more you know about yourself, and the more you experience and go through life, you're going to get that sense of confidence, because confidence comes from you just knowing information and you being able to take that information and regurgitate it in a way where it's flawless. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in sales, or you're an entrepreneur and you want to go in sales or whatever. Or no, you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a sales team, but you need to make money. So you're the salesperson and you're the entrepreneur, small one-person business. And now oh, dang, I got to make sales today. And you're freaking out and you're sweating. You're having panic attacks and you're going through all this, right? Now imagine someone else who's been in sales, either natural or have done it for years, and they're on their, listen, I'm not condoning this, but let's just give you an example. They've been doing these sales for years. They're driving their car with the Bluetooth, right? Talking to the radio, on a conversation or on a sales call. Imagine this, a person saying, oh no, sales, I can't do it. They're inexperienced compared to someone who's done it for years or whatever. They're in their car driving on through traffic on a freeway, having a conversation, a sales call, high-end sales call on a phone through Bluetooth, through the car, with traffic, coffee in their hand, and a baby in the back or a young child in the back saying, hey, child, please be quiet right now. No crying, no screaming. I got a phone call. And they're driving, talking through traffic, closing a high-end sales. Hang up, boop, there it is. And they still going with the flow. So my point is, with experience, with investment, with knowing, things will get easier. And that's why you have some individuals that are confident or are more successful with women than others. More men are successful with women than others because they learn skills that make attraction and interest happen. You know what I mean? You have to learn these things. And an idea of confidence is, with my wife, when I first met her, no joke, and this may not be, I wouldn't recommend it, but you got to be sure of yourself. That's the thing. So when I first met my wife, and again, you want to try to find someone that's spiritually, that you gravitate to spiritually. Yeah, we want to have all these people and be seen, but you want to deal with people that you have a spiritual connection with, and they may or may not be what you think. I don't know. But the point is, I'm a spiritual type person that, I'm attracted, you might be physically attractive, but I got to be really like spiritually connected, not in a way where we're, spiritual all the way, but it has to be something from the inside that is more than physical. That is interests me. My point is, when I met her, and she was working. I walked into her job. She was doing some work, and I didn't know her. I happened to see her, walked up, had a conversation, sparked a conversation, and then it got into more of a personal conversation. And I said, I invited her out or whatever. Let's go hang out after work or whatever. And I said, you're going to be so comfortable around me that you'll be able to fart around me. And I farted, like right then. And she could have walked away, and I would have just been like, oh man, but she didn't. And a good bad joke is she's been farting ever since. No, that's a bad joke. She said, I'll show you how to fart. No, that's a bad joke. But ultimately, just knowing, when you know and go through experiences, you will be able to get things done. My wife's probably be mad at me about that one, but you got to laugh. So let's see. If you have any questions, thoughts, leave them in the comments. Man on a phone draw with a soda chilling. Okay. And again, I haven't given you any technical skills. I'm just giving you a mindset and an opportunity to do research about yourself, starting with, why do I feel? Because you don't. It's just a feeling, it's emotion. So why do I feel like I lack confidence when I speak? And why do I feel like I cannot command a room? And as you get to know more and ask these questions, get answers, that feeling will change. And the question becomes, why do I feel like I'm so confident when I speak? And why do I feel like any room I go into, I command? And you don't necessarily feel, but it's going to be something that happens, either from your perspective or others. You might get people coming to you saying, man, every time you come into this room, just like you command the room. And that could be a natural aura thing. That could be a physical presentation thing. And so what do I mean by that? On a physical standpoint, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. But your presentation, be it the way you look, dress, or even the shape of your body, respectfully, depending on situations, all those play an indirect role. They're not big, but the more you can put onto the core, the source, the more benefits or the more assets you can put onto it, it only makes you more valuable. It only makes more influence, if that makes sense. So you got your you down. And then you say, okay, well, let me get my you down. I got confidence now and command the room, but let me get my you down and I'm in shape. Let me get my you down and I'm working on a second or third stream of income. Let me get my you down and I'm out here volunteering and whatever, so it's just additive. So the last thing I'm going to say when it comes to how to speak with confidence, I hope this makes sense and this was some good information, how to speak with confidence and how to command any room. Speak less. How to speak with confidence and how to command any room. Speak less. Y'all didn't see it was 125. The price of this cup. Let me get that off of there, y'all. How do you speak with confidence? Or how do you command any room? Speak less. I don't know who told this to me or why I researched this, but it always stuck with me. It's because this is going to end up a bad joke. But the wisest person in the room is usually the quietest person in the room, because most people have not figured out, because they're not speaking, how unwise they really are. I'm speaking to myself on that one. Bad joke. I'll say it again, but there is some truth in it. The wisest person in the room is the one that speaks the least, usually because most people consider them wise because they're not saying anything, but they could be seen as unwise as soon as they start speaking. I messed that joke up a little bit, but that's kind of the idea. And so first thing you want to do is just get in the room. Be in the room. Know what it's like to be in the room. Look around the room. Engage in the room. You know, visualize. If you can't be in the room, visualize the room. Visualize yourself speaking with confidence. Start with that. Visualize yourself speaking with confidence. And continue to praise yourself for trying your best. This is not easy. When you're peeling back layers and you're personally growing, it's like lifting weights or exercising. It's a lot of resistance that's designed to make you stronger, like literally. So we get it's not easy, and we applaud you and congratulate you in advance for doing it anyways. Because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Trust me when I say that. That's why it's designed for you, because it's your time. And so I'm gonna bring up my free 60-minute webinar. I have a free 60-minute video webinar on how to get comfortable being outside your comfort zone. How to get comfortable stepping outside your comfort zone. How to get comfortable stepping outside your comfort zone, because that's what this is going to require for the remainder of your journey in life, more than likely, is consistently stepping outside of your comfort zone, because what got you here will not get you there. And you're watching this video because it's time to go there. It's time to get to that next level. And that starts with you knowing and searching and digging within yourself. It's nobody's fault. This is your life. This is your time. No one's holding you back. You can get up and you can start visualizing in your mind, you speaking with confidence and owning a room. And then guess what? Go to a free networking event. Here's your hows, your personal steps. Go to a free networking event and get in the room. People will come to you. Stutter and babble and get all that out your system. Oh, it's my first time here. I would never recommend, or it's my first time doing this, or I would never say those things to people. But if that's what is required for you to get that out, so you can get your foundation and ground it, so you can start knowing, because with even your first event you go to, you're going to feel that much more empowered because you did it. And let me be the first to congratulate you. Okay? So those are some quick hows. Visualize, go to an event, go through the experience, reach back out to me through a comment or email or direct message with questions. I'll jump back on alive to help you. Tell me your experiences. Thank you so much for, oh man, I didn't even put no links. There should be a link at the bottom where you can donate monetarily in the amount you felt this message was worth. If you don't, no worries. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing this information, this video, liking, subscribing, following. And again, there should be a link in there to donate monetarily in the amount you felt this message was worth, so I can continue to do this. I have so much information that I want to jump into. Next conversation from this perspective, we'll probably jump into relationship management and high value networking. And it'll probably be there'll probably be how to build powerful connections that open doors to success. It will probably be relationship management and high value networking focused, how to build powerful connections to open doors to success. I'll give you an example. Went to a community event, did some just with the family, no intentions of doing nothing. I told my wife, I'm coming down here to do nothing. I just want to just enjoy my time with my family. Go to this event. I win a prize that gets the attention of, this could be a side story, but an elected official, good friend of mine now. We built this conversation, my family and I. At the event, there's a flyer of a sports event in which I decide my family and I will be vendors, and we'll cook some cupcakes and desserts my wife makes, and we'll sell them. So we went to this activity, and sports activity, served as a vendor. It was an adult activity for the adults and something for the kids, and I enjoyed it. We broke even, put it like that. A couple weeks later, that same activity happened, and this time I just went down there just to support. I didn't serve as a vendor. Our family at the time, one of my sons had just fractured both his wrists skateboarding, and so we wouldn't have been able to serve as a vendor. So I go down there to the event and just to support. And I look on the flyer, and there's a logo on there that catches my attention because I see all these flyers for these type of activities, and this logo is on there. So I go to my point of contact and ask what this logo is about. And he directs me over to a representative of the logo. I go and introduce myself. And the reason why the person, my point of contact, introduced me was because I served as a vendor and I was supporting in various ways, just real lightly. So he liked me and knew me and trusted me enough to say, hey, go, these are people to talk to. Little did I know that he was a part of the situation. Great friend, great mentor. And so I go over, talk to representative. Everything goes good to where I'm being introduced to decision makers of this logo. Get to a point where through the past work I did with my point of contact, my conversation, my skill sets, I end up getting some ownership in the situation, some authority in the situation. And then a few months later, this authority within this logo and this organization ends up being extremely valuable to where I'm placed in a position behind this brand as an influencer and an authority. It all happened because I went to an event and I used these skills that helped me open doors. And everything in this process I'm talking about is documented to include I took screenshots of my virtual calls that I had to kind of and different things. So I will create a workshop soon. I'll create a case study. I'll create a case study so you can see it. But doors can be opened at any time. It's a lifestyle. And and we'll get into that conversation. But anyway, thank you for supporting, following, liking, subscribing, donating what you felt this message was worth. Any questions, concerns, leave them in the comments, send me a direct message, or there should be an email. Visit my website, www.ldhadvising.com, L as in Lord, D as in Donovan, H as in Hilton, advising.com. Fun fact, I'm a registered Lord of Glencoe in the country of Scotland. My wife surprised me with a small plot of land through a nonprofit, which we don't own it, but we did invest in it to where we have this little small plot. And the idea is you're a landowner. And then because my wife and I have a virtual office in London for our work, we're growing our business. I am a master of my profession. And through the culture of United Kingdom, a lord or a lady is someone that is a landowner and a master of their profession. And so my wife surprised me with a lordship title, and I had to do my research as far as ancestral. I feel, I could be wrong, it goes through that area. And I think these are all great conversations, especially being Afrocentric, if you will, in regards to the culture of the United Kingdom and that urban side and what that looked like. So when I first started using my Lord title, I wasn't confident in it. I felt I was going to get ridiculed, ostracized, scrutinized, insulted for my lack of intelligence, all this. And actually, I did at one point through an email. But one of my greatest friends, I'll shout him out by name, Otis Carter IV, huge mover and shaker, does great work in business as well as in community and government relations. Mr. All Purpose. I really appreciate Otis because I've learned a lot from him because he may not be internally, but externally, he's a confident man. And it's a very attractive thing where he gets all these opportunities, you know what I'm saying? And people gel with him. He has a lot of charisma. He's authentic. He's down to earth. And I'll never forget, like, D Hill, don't worry about all that, man. You are a Lord, and that's what you are. That's your story. And you're gonna rock with that, And this is probably like the first week I started, doing this. And I appreciate that. And it was the truth to where now people come up all the time. Hello, Lord Donovan or Lord Hilton or whatever have you. And so I'll put my 5-minute explainer video of my lordship title on there. It's nothing faith-based, nothing to do with faith. It's just a culture as far as the physical of working and land ownership and stimulating that conversation and growing my brand globally, if you will, assisting Western-based countries, United States, United Kingdom, in those areas, and building stronger relationships. I don't know why it's on my heart, but with African-based, African diaspora countries and businesses and things like that. So ultimately, visit my website, LordLDHadvising.com. I do provide a free assessment, free advising assessment, in which you can complete a questionnaire, tell me where you are in your venture, goal, strategy, or what you're doing and where you want to be. I will send you back my feedback on of the steps of what you're requesting. Whatever it is you're requesting, I'll send that feedback through the assessment, the results, and then I can, for a small fee, provide a for a small fee, I can provide a pre-recorded video explaining my feedback from the assessment. And also on my website, you can schedule a 1-hour advising call with me where I can help provide insight, access, and resources, and just be a sounding board to help you get to the next level. And so thank you so much again for your time. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Another conversation. I do my pieces like this, but someone, I've been doing research as far as piece like this as well. Give me your thoughts on that. It's another conversation. Let's jump into it.